Hello. Hi, Dr. Manu. Good evening. Good afternoon.
Yeah, hi, Priyansh.
Can I make you the co-host? And because I have to drop off this call, if that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
sorry
I can
about
make
this.
another two as a panelist, right? If anybody wants to join.
Yes, anyone. Yes, I have made the Mr. Sharma as the panelist. No, what's the name again?
Yeah. Vardhana Sharma.
Yes, Vardhana Sharma. Yes, we can. I've already sent her the invite. Even if she's struggling, she can join the link and she'll anyway join automatically as a panelist. That's one. Second thing, yes, this can run for 2 hours. Shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Priyansh.
Yes. No problem. I'm making you the host right now. Just a minute. Do you want any recording? Please feel free to do so
No,
because
not
now
in
you're the
not
host.
now. So when we start during that time, we'll start.
Okay, got it.
And also YouTube also
Yes.
will start when that you don't know that how to start that YouTube live.
Yes, the YouTube live has already started. We'll just come it after that.
Oh, wonderful. Oh,
Okay.
we are live right on YouTube with it.
Yes,
Hi,
yes.
everyone. Okay. I'll take a leave here, Jur, and thank you so much, Dr. Manu. I'm in transit right now, but thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
So for all YouTubers, please wait for another 10 minutes. So we'll start. Arey,
Yes, sir.
it is showing that waiting for host to start the webinar. It's already started. Which
So on YouTube now?
link? Huh?
On YouTube now?
Huh?
So you're talking about YouTube now, or you're talking about?
No, Zoom.
No, but so the webinar has already been started. We are in it only.
So it is showing that it is not started. Host has another meeting in progress. In the WhatsApp group, whatever you sent,
Yes, sir.
okay, that is that is not.
I'll
Oh,
check it again.
huh?
I'll check it again. Just one.
Yeah.
Hello. Yes, sir, it is showing waiting. I'm searching for the webinar details.
That link, where did you get that link?
The one Priyanshu sent me.
Okay, that same link you shared that in WhatsApp group also, right?
Yes, sir. Sir, you're the host. You have the webinar details, like the meeting ID for this particular webinar.
Huh?
So do you have a meeting ID for this particular webinar? People have
No, the
started
link,
joining.
that may be a different link. Okay, so I'll send that Dhiren ko a link. He joined the link.
So, can you
So
send me
I'll
this
send
link
that
also,
link
please?
to, yeah, I'll send that link.
Yes, sir.
So I think participants, everyone received a different link.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll start in exactly at 2:10. So there was a, just we'll send the link, Zoom link, so everyone is joining. So we'll start in 4 minutes. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Uh, so, as a series of that webinar, so we are conducting this webinar as a workshop, so online workshop. So there is at the same time there is a YouTube live is also is going on. So before starting that, Iti has some questions about that AI model. Here we try to show that how that already so much of ChatGPT, Gemini, various tools are there. So using that, how can we develop that AI model? So you might some people's already this is for those who don't have any knowledge about AI model development. If you already developed that AI model, it may be not useful for you guys. We will show that how easily the basics of AI model, how we can develop that one. So how can we develop it's everything that AI model, maybe various terms are using. So we will clarify that. So then we'll proceed with that. So Iti, you have some questions you are typing.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I think I would like to start by asking, sir, what exactly is an AI model? Like, what do we mean when we say AI model, and what does model mean exactly?
Yeah. Like for example, even Dhiren is with me, so he is also expert in that AI. He's completed 2 years. Okay. Like initially you have some projects, you collected the patient's data, like patients data here in this scenario we are using that heart attack patients. Those patients came to the hospital with heart attack, so we have a so much of patients details, maybe demographic, age, female, sex, and also the comorbid condition, what type of heart attack, what medication they are using, and everything. So here we will not go in detail about what are the applications of AI. Is everybody knows about that. We'll directly jump into that what problem we are solving. Like example, Iti, I will explain what is model using this example. So during that we have collected the heart attack patient's data, so that we have a huge amount of data. So at the patient came to the hospital during that time, so we need to give ICU bed or else not. There is a limited ICU beds. So there is risk assessment as done. So here in this 2 hours, we develop that AI thing that will predict whether the patient is going to survive after 30 days or patient will die within 30 days because of heart attack. So usually 7% mortality with AI that heart attack patients. Okay, whether the if it is a very risky high risk patients, then we will give a better care, matlab ICU care and whatever that all resources available, we can give it to that patient to prevent that. Okay, that is a like example. Initially, that expert cardiologists know that this patient based on their experience. Even the model means using the data you are training. Like when a new DM student came, so he doesn't know that how to do that, how to assess the clinical risk case. So keep on after seeing so many patients, then he will become a human model. Okay, so when a new patient comes, okay, DM candidate can say that okay, this patient required ICU, this patient is OPD, or that basis. That is a human model. Similarly, in computer, using the data, we will feed the data to that computer, then computer will develop the model. That is a train. When the new patients comes, okay, model is nothing but it is a formula. Okay, that is a intelligence. So when a new patient comes, it will tell that exactly. Okay, it is a whether the patient will survive or not survive. Then, if it based on the outcome, we can take action. We can take that further research, steps.
Sir, what I understood was that the AI model will gradually learn over time that what patients are high risk and what patients are low risk, and then they'll categorize and tell the doctors on. It will be easier for the doctors to decide if the patient has to be given a proper care in the ICU or can be managed more easily normally in a ward. But sir, on
Yeah,
days like right now, if I make my AI model, what data? How am I putting the data into the AI model so that it already has some idea? Like, how do I prevent mistakes by the AI model in the early stages of development?
yeah, there is a huge various steps there AI model. So initially, if you want to plan something, you take any one applications where you want to do develop the model. collect that all data. Okay, it may be that Excel data or it may be voice data. Then you want to explain. So he is working on that one model on voice, breath sounds.
Yes, so basically, you asked how we input data, so I'll answer that first. So we have various modes of inputting data. So we try to give a simplified form of data usually. So, like, let's say I'm giving in an audio. So it's not like that I can, like, we perceive audio as audio because we have ears and we hear it, but a machine, it interprets audio as a graph where there is a line of time, and at each time there are a few numbers that define things like amplitude, frequency, and some other miscellaneous things. So s- audio data type like audio are complex data. There are simpler data like tables and simple simple numbers and stuff. So when I input an audio, so there are usually preformed softwares that can generate that can convert our input into a simplified input that can be interpreted by a machine. Like we can like if I upload a video or an
So
audio, so
simply, if
like
I tell that you can correct whatever the data you have, just like go on OPD, correct that patient's data. Whether data means patient's ka age, patient's ka references, sab kuch. Okay. So then that data can be used for development of models. Okay. Train that using the data. Okay. So that here in this one, we are just narrowing down to predicting model. Okay. Whether the patient will survey or not survey. Okay, so that type of diagnostic model भी हो सकता है. मतलब whether the patient give a symptoms, whether if it will be diagnosed, it is a tuberculosis or not, it will develop. So similarly, if it is a various types of applications, okay, we'll not go in detail over that. Okay, so any other?
Yes, sir. So, like, will we be able to build a model within the next 2 hours, like for MBBS students and for people who don't have much idea about AI or programming or languages in general, large language models and all of that? So, for us who don't have any idea at all, how easy or how difficult is it going to be in the next 2 hours to build a predictive model by the end?
Okay. Like example, before that ChatGPT everything in 2021, I took 3 months to create one model. This model. Okay. So each and every line I learned that Python that I need to, okay, each and every line we need to learn. So it will take use 3 months. Now because of the ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, so many are there. Okay, just you need to tell that model that I want this. Okay, then it will develop. Okay, that is very simple, but you should know the concept, what exactly you want. So if you tell that I have a data of heart attack patients of these features, okay, I want to predict whether the patient is survive within 30 days or not. So develop that AI model for me. If you say this with simple English, it develops the model. Okay, that model is stored in your desktop. When a new patient come, okay, you can also tell that using the developed model that is I stored in the file in desktop, so predict that new patient's ka outcome. So you need to tell that simple English language, so then it will predict that. So it will say that this patient has a probability of survival is 90%. It will give that. So it becomes so simple, and they should know. Okay, it's very easy, but you should know exactly what you want to do, and also there is various platforms are there to run that AI model. Okay, here we are Colab, so there is various other models also are there, other various platform. Okay, so everything you can learn easily nowadays. In within 2 hours, we try to develop the simple AI model. Will not go in depth about that, improvising the model, increase accuracy, and all these models will not go in detail. Just simple model we will try to develop. How? With simple English language.
Thank you so much, sir. This was really insightful. I'm really excited for the workshop ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So, Dhiren, you want to add anything? So shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So first they will give the triple IT that Vardhana, so PhD graduate, she will give a presentation about that. What is the various steps of developing that AI model? Okay, that is very important. If you understand the concept, you can tell that what exactly you want. So that just you need to know that AI model, where it is applied, and also that what kind of data you want. So after collecting, what are the steps in that concept? So you can tell that ChatGPT, Gemini to develop the model. Even it will give the steps also, but you should know that conceptually you should know. Then it is easy for you to tell that LLM models to develop the AI model. Vardhana?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, please. I
Yes,
will
sir, I'm
stop your
sharing my
share.
screen.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a second.
So you can share, right? So now you can share your PPT.
Yes, sir, I'm trying to share. Yes, sir, I'm not able to share that.
Okay.
Just a minute.
I have that your presentation, even I can share that. Yeah, it is visible.
Just a second, sir. So is my screen visible now?
Yeah, yes,
That PPT?
yes, it's visible.
Okay, okay. So good afternoon, everyone. I am Vardhana. I'm a PhD scholar at IIT Delhi. So today I will be briefly explaining
But
how.
you can make it as a bigger screen presentation mode. It is it's only half is.
Okay,
Yeah, now it's clear.
just a second. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I am Vardhana. I am a PhD scholar at IIT Delhi. So today we'll be discussing how an AI model is developed. So first, we'll start by looking the overview of the steps. This is the AI model life cycle. So these are the 6 important steps. We'll deep dive into each one by one. So first step is defining a clinical problem. Then second one is collecting the relevant data. Then third is preparing and cleaning of that data. Then building model. After building model, evaluation of model, and then improvement and monitoring. Now let's see one by one each step. So first one is defining the problem statement. So first we have to define what we are going to predict using the AI model. So let's say we have to predict whether a patient will survive or not during hospital stay. So the problem is defined. Now we have to check what the inputs will model will take and what will be the output. So input will be the patient details like age, blood pressure, heart rate, lab values, comorbidities, etc. things. And the output will be patient will survive or die. So for example, what will the model will predict finally? With this, we can predict if the patient will survive. We will also get the risk percentage with this, like is it a high risk patient or low risk patient? Step 2 is data collection. So based on the problem statement, we have to collect the relevant data which is required. For example, for this, we can collect the age, heart rate, systolic BP, creatinine, etc. They can be multiple features which are available. Then comes the step 3, which is a very important step because if data quality is bad, the model is going to predict the wrong things. So data preparation is very important step. It contains data handling, like missing value handlings. If the data have missing values, we have to impute it, or if there are multiple missing values of a sample, then we can just drop that so that our model only get the quality data to learn from. Outlier detection, for example, there can be errors during the data entry. For example, heart rate 900, age 500. So we have to handle those as well. Then normalization into a particular range. Then data visualization. So next step is visualization. It helps us to find out the trends of the data. For example, by using those visualization, we can find out the gender ratio of mortality and survival patients. What are the comorbidities affecting age distribution? So this help us to find the trends of the data. Then comes this is also the part of data preparation, which is splitting the data into two parts: training set and the test set. So usually we split the original data sets into two parts. First one is training data and second one is test data. Training data will be the more, because the more will be the data, the more robust your model will be, because it will get the more data to learn from. So we take 80% of the data to train the model and we keep rest of the 20% for testing purpose, which is hidden from the model and which is unseen data, which we'll use to evaluate whether the model is trained or not after training the model. So next is model training. Now, what is this model thing? So this model, AI model, is nothing but an algorithm. There are multiple algorithms exist, like logistic regression, random forest, XGBoost, etc. We choose an algorithm, then we train it. How we train it? We give it the patient data, which is the features that we have collected, like age, gender, etc., and the target variable, because data have the label, which is patient died or survived. So we give all of this stuff to the model. Then what will this model do? What is this training is? The model will learn the hidden patterns in the data, like which patients are dying, which are the values of those features of the survival patients, the mortality patients. So it basically learns the relationship among those outcome variable, which is like death or survival, and the features, which are age, comorbidities, lab vitals, etc. things. So it's basically learns the patterns from the data as well as the relationship between them. And after that, we get the trained model, which is ready for the prediction. Now, next is the model evaluation. So this comes after we have the trained model on our 80% of the data. Now, we kept the 20% unseen data aside. We'll use that here only in this step. We take the trained model, we give our new data and check how much our model is giving correct prediction. For this, we use different metrics, which are accuracy, sensitivity, F1 score, AUC, etc. things. So we use these metrics to check the performance of the trained model. And then the step 6 come, which is validation, improvement, and deployment. So we have trained the model, we have original data set. Let's say we have original data set of our hospital. We used it 80% for training and 20% for testing. But now we have to take other data sets as well. It may be of publicly available data sets for other registries of separate populations, but they should have the same outcome variable, which is our clinical goal. That is, for this example, we are predicting mortality and survival of patient during hospital stay. So we have to get the similar data sets of other hospital or maybe publicly available of different population or registries to validate our model. We'll use that data sets to again check the performance of our data set, our model, whether our model is generalized or not generalizing on the different population, different data sets, right? Because what we did with our 20% data set was internal validation. It's of our same hospital data set. So we have to make a model generalizable on other population, other hospital data sets as well. So we used other data set for validation. Then second step is validating the model output with doctors. A very important thing, we have to clinically validate the model outputs. Is the model is correctly predicting or not? That always be verified with doctors. Then after that, we keep on improving the model with more and more training data. Like if you want a more reliable and the best predicting model, then we have to train it on lots of data. There is no limit. The more is the data, the more better will be the model. And in that algorithms that I told, that what that AI model is, it was nothing but an algorithm. That algorithm have different hyperparameters that needs to be tuned, which helps in improving the model performance. And at last, we can deploy the model as a AI prediction model. And then this adding more data, retraining, tuning, we can keep on doing these iterations to make our model more robust and more better. So for example, when we have a trained model, we have deployed it, it would look like this. What will happen? We will input the data. New patient admitted to the hospital. We'll input the data like its vitals, lab test, medical history, hypertension, diabetic information, smoking status, etc. things. Whatever the data that we use for our model training, we'll use the same thing during the testing time. Then we inputted this newly admitted patient data into the model. It analyzed that data, check its relationship, what it's learned during the training time, the patterns it learned during the training time. It analyzes with that, and finally it will give the risk of mortality. In this case, this is example of mortality prediction. So it will give the risk of mortality prediction, mortality risk, so that how it is helping the doctors. Now we can doctor can do the decision making based on this. If the patient have very high risk, then they can take what are the priority calls for the escalation processes early for high risk patients. So in this way, it is going to help the doctor in decision making. So basically, it's not replacing the doctor, it's making their work a little bit faster and easier. So this always complements with the clinical judgment. We can not only just rely with AI predictions, it take multiple iterations, improvements with clinical judgment as well. So yeah, this is all about an AI development life cycle. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Vardhana. So it's very important steps. If you know that concept of that, how that AI model is developed, so then automatically it will be, you can ask that your various LLM model to develop the AI model for you. So this
Exactly.
concept is very important. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate, you can ask. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you clear these points, steps, then automatically if you have a data, then you can develop. Even
Yes.
though if you don't have the data, if you collecting the data in hospital, it's not so easy task. So you need to go to the ethics committee, approval and everything. There are so many that India AI platform, there is so much of data is available. So play with the data. So take the data, okay, apply this model. If it is a novel, then you can publish, you can present. Okay, so these concepts are very important. Open.
I have something to say. Like,
Yeah.
when I was collecting the data for our projects, so I wanted to mention that the most painstaking part of preparing any AI model is collecting the data and cleaning it. So, this is a step to focus on because it is very necessary to structure how are we going to collect the data initially before the project, like during the planning of the project only, because later on it gives a lot of trouble. Because when I was working on some audio data, so what happened was I was tasked with identifying what the patient was saying, uh, and the data contained so much of background noise that it was not even possible, and they collected the whole data and it all went to waste. So for all the doctors that will be planning any AI projects in future, do try to collect the data in a clean and structured way and discuss it with the engineer you're collaborating with prior.
Yeah. So your question answers how to anonymize the data. So Vardhana, like example, so Vardhana, you want to answer? There is a
Yes,
one
sir.
question
What's the
from
question?
Ronit.
Can you again repeat the question? What was
How
that?
to anonymize the data? So if it is a patient is there, the data is there.
Yeah, we have the records. We first delete those columns. Like if we have first name, their address, their mobile number, we simply remove that before doing all this process. This is what the anonymization means in our model. We don't provide those column values, those as a features in our model, because these are not the features. They are not going to help to learn. Like if patient name is Ram, then it's nowhere going to help to predict
So they are asking
whether
about
it will
that
die or
CT
not.
scans, image-based data.
Okay, in CT
No, it's
scan.
okay. Matlab, this webinar is out of, yeah, okay, you can answer.
Yeah, so they are asking for the CT scan anonymization.
Yeah.
So what does that anonymization meant here? Like the patient information only, no? Their name,
Yeah,
address,
that is the main
everything
thing.
pedigree.
Yeah, exactly.
So we just drop that values. We don't use in the model training and all. Like the first step that in data collection and preparation part, we simply remove the patient personal details completely. Only use those features which actually contributes in our clinical outcome prediction. So we don't use that in model.
Now, if it is an image basis in the corner, there is a name is there, patient's name that we need to select some algorithms to, we need to remove the patient's name in the side of corner of CT scan. So that can be done. Okay. So how to pick the right algorithm for building a model?
It depends if for tablet and all, we have simple machine learning algorithms like logistic regression, random forest, etc. But if we have image based things like ECG signals or something, CT scan images, MRI images, then we have to move one step further in deep learning models. So there are multiple models based on the requirement, their computation that we have, like it also need computation power, GPUs and something. So we have to depend, everything depends on the data. If you have images, you have to go with the deep learning models, neural networks, these are the more advanced models. But if you have simple tabular data like 30 to 50 features and simply outcome label, they can be not necessarily binary class, they can be multi-class as well. Like risk prediction system, low, high, mild risk, we can do it for multiple classes, though we can simply use machine learning models for that.
For example, here that just we have a, we will share the data, sample data. Please send your email to us, okay, in the group or else in chat box. So we will send the sample data here. That's heart attack patient sample data. So we will work on that data. So here the whatever we are going to send the sample data, it contains around 15 features. Okay, similarly, you can collect the patient's data, find out that what you want to predict based on that. So you can give that suggestion to that AI LLM model to develop this model, keeping this as a research question. So automatically it will develop the model. So what Vardhana was telling that there is a various models. Okay, there is a different 10, 15 types of that algorithm are there. So one way is to train that all the model ones, you see that which model work for best for that your data set. That is the way, or else based on that you can choose one or two models. Another one is CT scan you are telling. The CT scan has so much of pixels. For that simple algorithm doesn't work. We need a deep neural network, they will say. That is a huge amount of computational power. Matlab computer, the GPU is required for that. So those who want to work on live, that please send your email. Azure will send that sample data to you guys. Okay, so then we can proceed with that. So thank you, Vardhana.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Okay. So next will be, we will work on if that everybody should open your laptop. So Dr. Dhiren will explain about that how what is Google Colab, what are the different parts of Google Colab, how that simple, you need to able to read that Python basics. Okay, so if you able to read that Python, it's enough. No need in-depth knowledge of Python is not required. So whenever, like example, you collected that data for your thesis. Now you need to analyze the statistics you need to apply. So if you know that what test you apply, if you give to Gemini or else anything, you say, I want this test, automatically it from the data, it will fetch the code and it will give a results. So if you understand the basics of Python, so that will be very easy and it will be interesting. Okay, so to Dhiren, so you can proceed with the Colab demonstration, introduction to Colab, and also the Python. He will explain that Python language in medical knowledge. Okay, in medical terms, doctors. So earlier when you go to that YouTube to learn Python, they will, it's very tough to understand. Okay, so he will explain in simple patient-based patient knowledge. Okay, the patient case and disease medical terms we will explain. Yeah, to you, Dhiren.
Yes. So, like, is my screen visible?
Yeah,
Is my
yes,
screen visible? Yeah.
Yeah, it's visible.
So, like, so let's start with the basics of Colab. So basically,
So before
when
Dhiren, I will request everyone to send that email. As a result, you will get that after this, we will work on that sample patient's data set. So you can work, please send, we will send the data.
sure. So everyone, please, whoever wants to work live, because after that there is an exercise too. So it will be easy if you have the sample data. So please share your emails. So uh, I'll start with the basics of Colab now. So when you're working on Python and so Python is a programming language, and it is the best language to use for us medicos because it's more or less English. So I personally feel that it is the easiest language to use. So then now you can work in Python in two ways. Either you can have a Python software on your laptop and work on a local setup, which is so like having a Python software in your laptop and all the that has access to all the data in your laptop. So that is called local setup. So what like working on Colab, this cloud setup, so this is called shell setup. So basically this is an kind of a artificial environment where this Python area has access to the temporary cloud that is created in this session only. So all the files that you work on, or all the files that you want to work on, you will be finding here. It is like if of this temporary session here. So you can access all those files from here. So you have to connect. Okay, so when you start your session, it usually connects on its own, but
So
you can
just
start your
Dhiren, once
session from
again,
here.
those who are online webinar that you are your desktop, open that that Colab. Okay, Google. Please tell that how to go to that from starting.
Sure.
From search to Google, then it will open that Google, that Colab. Type that Google Colab.
Sure, I'll do
Please,
that.
everyone follow that and also open simultaneously.
Yeah. So I'll start from the beginning. So I'll just type Colab here. So this is our Google Colab. So I'll like to change my account first. So this is how it starts. The usually we get to choose which notebook to open. I can choose from Drive or I can upload from a laptop. So I would like to upload from a laptop here. And so I have opened a workshop notebook. So like now this is open. So basically when you're using Colab, you're not using the resources of your computer exactly, because uh, running machine learning models is like requires a heavy GPU and a good CPU performance and good storage also. So for these, like when like in my laptop, I don't have a proper GPU, so it's tough for me to run a machine learning model on my laptop. So I prefer to use Colab, because so in Colab, in this temporary session, I have around 87.5 GB of space available, and I can purchase more if I want it. So other than that, now when you start, first of all, like this session has connected automatically. Sometimes it gets disconnected after working for a long time, so you can just a connect option will appear and you can just connect from here. Your the program you're running currently is putting on your uh, this session. So this is my available RAM and available disk space. So and you can so when you go to runtime and click on change runtime type once. So this is the list of all the things you can use. So basically everything, most of the things you will be able to do only, but there are few things that you need to know. So in some situations, like when you are running a heavy deep learning model, it is preferable to use GPUs and TPUs. So kind of accelerator you would require for a particular situation. So here we are doing a very simple plan. So I am fine with the CPU, and my language I'll be choosing is Python 3. There are other languages available in Colab as well. So and here you can start the you can select for the version of the Python. So if you are using any AI that is not in here, like that is not in the Colab environment, like you can use any outside of Colab to window. So sometimes there occurs some problems where the code that they're typing doesn't work. So in those times, it is like you can check for this runtime type and you can check for the version, like what version you are using. So here we are using latest version only. Sometimes that can be what version you are using, because sometimes there's a version mismatch between what the AI is telling and what you are working in. So now so in Colab, basically you have two kinds of cells. One is called text cell, where you can put text like this. So this is a text cell. It has just text, it doesn't code, it doesn't run. You can just type it for notes or maybe for teaching and just organizing your code, you can use text. Create a text cell, you can just click on this plus text icon, and here you'll get it. So you can just type something, and here it will come. It's like that. So after this, there is a code cell. So code cell is the place where you will be running your code. And so because we are all doctors and we don't have enough time to learn coding, so we'll make sure that in this session we don't try to code anything. We'll just use AI to code for us. So now let's start with basics of Python programming. I hope you're all familiar with the Colab now. Do you have any specific questions? All right, so let's all right, so let's start with the basics of Python programming. So here we have a case. So I hope do you have the sample data already? Okay, so we'll start with the case. So a 54-year-old man, Mr. Suresh, presents to the emergency. Here are his symptoms are mentioned, and he came to the ER, and his risk factors are also mentioned, like he is a long-term smoker, hypertension, dyslipidemia. On arrival, his symptoms are mentioned, and his vitals are given. And after that, his ECG report is also summarized, and his STROP report is also summarized. So now I'll just tell you about what Python, like some basics of Python, which you must know. So anything basically you can put any data within two colons. So anything you put between these two colons is called a string. So we usually use string to put in text data. We can also put in numbers in it, but like you can put in special characters or anything. But if you like but string is a different entity. So if you put in a string, and if you think you can multiply it into 2, then it won't work as you expect, because this is not a number. This is treated like text only. So after that, we have various types of numbers. So integers are as we have been taught.
Just I want to tell anything that, like example, in case, show that screen. Okay. Yeah. Now, if you have any questions, you can answer in the chat. Chat is disabled, okay, enabled. So you can ask in the chat section also, or a question and answer session as well. So like example, in a case study, when you are taking a case of any patient, so you will go to the OPD, then you're taking a case, so that you need to write the case sheets. So in that case sheets, there are various words and also numbers. That like name is a word. So and also diagnosis is a word. And also there is another various numbers are there. So we need to teach that Python using a two strings and numbers. Is that we need two strings within that code only if we mention if it is a English number. Okay, so that you need to know that the even for diagnosis anterior wall STEMI, that is a quoted. So then it will understand that. Okay, so if it is a number, next you will teach about the numbers. Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir. So sorry, I also forgot to mention, when you are when anything is preceded by a hash, it means that it won't be part of a code as text. It is just a side note. Like it won't be the part of the code. So like after a hash, I can write anything and it won't interact with my code anyhow. So this patient name which is written, so this is called a variable. So anything that is preceded with a so like let's say I'll just explain my own. Let's say x equal to, so now x is a variable and x is an empty variable. I can fill anything in it. So here patient name is a variable and its content is Suresh, the output will be Suresh because the content of patient name is Suresh. Like it's just like maths, how we used to do like X and Y, like that things. So in diagnosis, the diagnosis is anterior wall STEMI. The color change denotes that this is a string. So our colon environment string is denoted in this color. So and now we go to the numbers. So we have to ensure that at least know the data type, even if we are letting an AI work with it, because there are some operations that can only be done within the same type. Like if like the age is an integer, so there will be and the height is a float. So integer is, as we have been taught in maths, like it's any number between minus infinity to plus infinity, but uh, here in Python integer won't accept decimal numbers. So in Python, when you're putting a decimal and you're putting something after it, it is called a float, like this, a troponin and like height. So why you have to be careful with this is because there will be some situation like when you train a model on an integer, let's say, and when you are validating it, or maybe when you are testing it in the real world, you accidentally input a float in it. So you trained it on all integers like 5, 10, 25, and now when you're working you accidentally input 10.0, and you think maybe it's the same 10 and 10.0, but it's not. So Python will treat it as a float and will show up an error because the model has been trained in an integer. It will show that there is a mismatch of data type. So just be careful about what data type you are typing. Just be aware of that. And that will be fine. Rest everything AI will be doing for you. So yeah, so this is all our variables have been defined. We have input the age, weight, height, and all these things. So now we'll be calculating BMI. So again, we have defined a variable called BMI, and after that we have written a function. Now looking at this notebook, let's try AI, if AI can generate the BMI for us. So I'll just ask it, calculate the patient's BMI based on the contents of the previous cell. So like here it is, it gave the code on its own, and I can just choose to accept it. So here's the code to calculate the patient's BMI, and I'll just accept and run. So okay, so this is a very common error which we can go through. So basically what I had this notebook loaded previously, and that is why the output, so basically I forgot to run these. So you have to make sure that you run all these cells. So this is after you type your code, to feed it into the system, to feed it into Python, you need to run this. So you can push the play button, or you can just press Control plus Enter as it mentions. So now it's like it's run, and now these variables have been fed into the system. Now this code will work. So it gives the patient's BMI as 59.72. So now we move ahead with what type of data, what other types of data we can use in Python. So we can't always use variables to do our job. So because we have to deal with a large set of data, like a patient can have multiple symptoms and we'll have multiple patients in our ER. So how are we going to deal with a group of data? So basically I can club all the symptoms in a series, in a group of symptoms. I can define a variable called symptoms, and um, in this variable, whenever you enclose something within square brackets, it is called a list. So a list is a dynamic data storage entity where you can keep adding or subtracting things even. So I'll show you how it's done. So first of all, let's just see. So this list contains the symptoms of the patient as mentioned here, as mentioned based on the problem statement, and here it contains the risk factor. I could have so AI can also do this job for me if I just give it the clinical vignette and just ask it to create a list of symptoms and risk factors. The AI will do it for me. So now, as the list is already created, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we can add like list. Now I wanted to show you that list is a dynamic entity. So above the symptoms lack restlessness, but now uh, as I've uh, run this line of code from this button, so symptoms dot append. You don't need to go into the details of coding. So this line of code just added restlessness to the list of symptoms, and now when I'll just check out the symptom variable, it will have restlessness in it. And as I ran it twice, so it added the restlessness symptom twice. So that's all. Now we'll go with tuple. So tuple is a fixed group of data. It cannot be changed. Unlike list, this is called immutable because we can't modify it. So this is useful for things that we never want to modify, like vitals. Like once we have recorded a vital at a time, it shouldn't be changeable. So in that situation, we can be using a tuple. So now we'll just go ahead with dictionary. So let's say I wanna store all the things, all the vitals of a patient in a place, and I want to access it whenever I want it. So I'll just put it in a dictionary. So what is a dictionary? A dictionary is anything that is between two angled brackets, and I'll just run this line of code. And so let me show you how we can create a dictionary only. So I'll put this vignette here. I don't need to put this here uh, just for clarity. So I'll I have given it the clinical vignette, and now I'll ask it to create a dictionary. Create a dictionary. Getting. So here it tells he'll extract the vitals and from the existing patient record, and will show us how he'll get the heart rate. Uh, Dictionary. Okay, so I'll just ask it to get the heart rate from this dictionary. Get.
But it is not required for us. Just like that, if you know the dictionary, that's enough. So it is a Python. So like example,
All right, sir.
so
Okay, so
just
I'll
they need to they know, if we know that, even you need not to code anything. Just simple English language, if you know that, that's enough. So
yeah.
if you tell that I want a p-value for the statistic run between the systolic and diastolic, so it will give that. So just to say familiar with that. So what is tuple, what is dictionary, that's better. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, sir. So I'll just move ahead. So now let's look at the if function. So this is where we see that Python is actually just English. So this is a simple classification of the BMI of the patient. So I've defined the variable BMI and input as 21. So the BMI of the patient is 21. Now I'm going to classify it. So basically, if um, we put the if statement, if BMI is less than 19, then it will classify it as underweight. Else, if it's between 19 and 25, then it's normal. And if it's none of these, then it will automatically classify it as obese. So now let's see the status. So as our patient fell into the category of 19 to 25, it displayed normal. So now this is the dictionary of the patient. So this is a dictionary called patient, where all the details of the patient have been stored. So name as Mr. Suresh, age as 54, and symptoms have been stored in a list. So you can create a complex dictionary where you can put a group of data in a field too. So this is what we have had been trying, accessing heart rate from the patient dictionary. So here I just asked for earlier I asked Gemini to get the heart rate from the patient dictionary, and here it is. So this is how we access data from a dictionary. Like, so from the patient dictionary, now we want to get the name of the patient. We do this. So this is how we get what we wanted. So here I would like to mention that complex list which we added into the dictionary here. So just patient and square brackets, and type the thing you want as string, because the data was because the label was string here. So unlike symptoms. So
No, just
when we
there
mention
one
symptoms in the square
questions.
bracket.
Okay. So we have to put the variable into the double quote instead of value when making a dictionary. Sir is okay.
Yeah.
So please explain the dictionary, that quote and also double quote.
Sure. So, and do I need to explain this? Like,
No, just even that not in detail of Python is not necessary. Okay. So earlier, when there is no chat GPT, when there is no these things, you need to understand what is double quote, what is single quote, what is square bracket, what is flower bracket, everything is required, but no need to worry about that. Okay. So that is not, we don't want to become a software engineer. Just if you
right,
know the understand the concept, this is how it will run. Okay, if you have any doubts, okay, that then it will take around 6 weeks to learn that Python. So YouTube, there is a various courses are there. You can go in detail about that. So last, if you come down the last, there in full
yes, sir.
down. Yeah. So these are the things. All, like example, all patient case can be explained in like patient ka symptoms. Okay, that comorbid conditions, demographic data. Okay, diagnosis. What is a treatment? What is a investigation? So similarly, these Python can be in terms of strings, matlab in terms of numbers, list, tuple, dictionary, if else. Okay, this is the way to express that in the Python. That's enough. Okay, no need to learn about what is string, what is number. That is not at all required. Okay, just your concept is required. What questions? What if you have a patient data? So what you want to run? What you want to do with the data? That is enough. That's it. So if you tell that exactly what you want in English, automatically it will generate the code for us.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Dinesh. So it is just to make that Python. It is required. It is just what is most. If you understand, that's enough. If you don't understand, it's also not required. So I hope everyone got received that Excel data. Please say yes in that if you received that Excel. That is a sample data of it is collected from GB Pant Hospital. Okay, so that is Dr. Mohit sir is he has done one project. So okay, so that is a real data, but we deleted the patient's name, details, and everything. Okay, so I hope everyone received. Yes, I'm getting yes, yes. Okay, yeah. Thank you. So using now, you it may be we are giving a sample data. So the data is totally clean data.
This
So yes. So I'm opening that patient's data here. So earlier was there is able to everyone able to see that my this thing screen. Okay, so this is a patient's data. Okay, it is we collected around 3,500. Matlab Dr. Mohit Gupta sir. So there is a professor in Department of Cardiology. I will be very thankful for him. Okay, so here we deleted the all patient demographic. We anonymous the data, so you're not able to see that which patient what data. So this is a heart attack patient's data. Earlier, it is a raw data. It is a very like earlier the data were like collected like this. Okay, so it is each feature there is a what is a 30 days mortality. 30 days mortality means whether the patient is died within 30 days or not. So usually throughout the world it is a 7% is a mortality rate after STEMI. Okay, it may be various reasons. Maybe patients comes late to hospitals, or else three vessel block, or else comorbid condition, or else very age is itself it is a 70 plus. There is high mortality. So these are the various features. Okay, so various features, smoking history, demographic history, whether it's anterior wall, inferior wall MI. So this is a smoker, the what type of pre-diabetic patients are so diabetic, hypertension, cancer, whether patients having or not. So these are the various features collected. Okay, we can't give these files to that Gemini GPT to find out that any statistics test. We need to clean the data. Okay, even cleaning can also be done with that existing Claude and everything. Okay, so if you ask the Claude to clean the data, it will give the data like this. Okay, that is also I didn't try, but most probably it is possible. Okay, or else manually we need to collect. Okay, so whatever Dhiren explained that Python, so using that single, okay, we can correct, we can edit this Excel sheet using that. We can convert that, okay, into clean data. So whatever the data you all received, this is the data. Okay, this is clean data. Clean data means there is no null value. Every patient's every column is filled. That is one way. And also if it is a okay HB value, hemoglobin basic value, it's all exactly point. It is there is no comma. Okay, and also 0 and 1. That computer understands numbers easily. Okay, so that number also everything should be either if it is a 30 days mortality, it should be either 1 or 0. Like if it is a smoking history, it is a smoke year, pack year. And also if it is hemoglobin, it is ranging from 3.6 to okay 16.2. Okay, there is no 100 or there is no comma in this. Everything is clean. It is a LED, it is a LED artery is involved. Okay, it is a LCX, that is artery is involved. What is the female? If it is a 1 means female, 1, 0 means male. it is a age. You can see that everything age is there. So this is a clean data. Okay. So is everyone received the data? I hope everyone. Okay. Basically it is. Okay. Yeah. So now we'll like example, this data is there. So we want to get that average of mean. Here also in Excel also we will get. Okay, but using that Python, how can we get? And also if it is you want to get the p-value between, that is a statistic, okay, p-value between age and associated with 30 days mortality. Then we need to use that SPSS software and also R programming language. There are various tools are there. So even you can do the statistics, use that collab. Okay, how you can do that? So I will demonstrate here. So in this data, there is a various patients data. You can see that 30 days mortality here is a we are taken as a target. This is what we are predicting. Okay, we followed the patient from day one admission to 30 days, and how many patients have passed, okay, survived and died in 30 days. We have calculated this. We done that. So if it is a 1 is, matlab patient is passed away because of various reasons. Okay, if it is a 0, then it patient survived. So this is a target column. Okay, this is what you need to develop any AI model. You need to identify uh, what you are going to predict. This is a target column. This is a data. We feeding the data. Then we will say that I want to predict the 30 days mortality. Okay, using that various features. This all take as an input. There is a LDL cholesterol, HDL cholesterol, triglycerides. Okay, everything. So now we'll go to the collab. Okay, if you have any doubts in between, you can ask me in between also. Okay, I type collab. So welcome to the collab. So here already is there, but I want you to upload. Okay, so you can use that browse. So okay, so I think yeah. So if you don't have this file also, it's fine, no problem. If you don't have this file, just go collab. Okay, just go to collab. Welcome to collab. Open the new this one, new notebook. If you open the new notebook, okay, it will open the new notebook. Okay, so there you can do that whatever you want. Like example here, I will show that already there. So first we want to import that Excel sheet data into your this notebook. How to import that? So then only there is a so many files are there in desktop. So if you ask that ChatGPT or what Gemini to generate that the 30 days mortality, it will get confused. So that's why first you need to upload that Excel sheet into this notebook. So you can give a command. Earlier, they used to type that Python learning, that using everything you need to know. Now you need to just type here, okay, I have Excel sheet in my desktop. I want to upload here. Okay, so if you click on this, automatically it will generate the Python code that helpful to import the data. So import means nothing but, so there is so many files in your Excel that will take that file into here, this working file. It is generated that code. Okay, if you want, you can learn, or else just run this. How to run this? Click on this arrow, automatically it will run. Okay, you can accept and run also, or else it will automatically it will run. Okay, if there is an error, it will only correct. Okay, if it is error, then it will correct itself. Okay, 8 minutes. So if we give error, okay, so import, that is why the correct understanding is important. Upload is not a correct answer. So just if you import, so automatically it will import. So it will correct. It is asking a choose file. So I am selecting that file here. Okay, so I have uploaded this file. So this is a code generated. So it is uploaded. Okay, you can see that. Okay, that data. So now you need to see that find all column names in the or else if there is any none value, it is all everything is filled or not. Okay, check that none value means if there is a none value in this column or not. So this code Python is generated. So you can see that 00 means there is no code, there is no none value in this. Okay, so then you can see that here generate that if you want to delete that extra column, there is an option is there to delete this cell. Okay, so now I want to find all the columns name. So what are the features are there? I want to find out that. Find all columns name. Column matlab Excel mein that is 5 columns name. So now I want to see that what are the different columns that is corrected. Accept and run. It will give that these are the various columns. Okay. So that is syncope, LED, various artery and everything. So next cell. So automatically it will generate. Okay. So 30 days mortality, that is a next call. Find out the total number of 30 days mortality class. So here it is collecting that data. So I want to know this how many. That is a 0 is 131, 1 means 110. That is mortality is 110, 0 is 131. Just you need not to follow that each command and each code. That is you need to decide what kind of questions you want to ask. So what kind of question you want to ask, and it will generate the code and it will give the results. Okay, like example, I want to see that here. So I will generate that run mein, okay, t test to see significance between age and the 30 days mortality. Okay. Okay. And calculate p value and 95% confidence interval. Okay. So if you say that automatically it will generate the code, okay, then it will run. Okay, it is collected that code here. It is a statistical module. That Python module is that SciPy. So that is each one is a free that module. Okay. So it will run that, it give the results. T test statistics is this one. The P value is 0.001. The mean age is this one. Mean age of survival patients is 53. Mean age of that mortality class is 58. the difference between the mean is this much. So 95% confident interval it gave. So you need to know that what kind of statistics you want. So automatically it will, if you ask, it will give the results. Okay. So if you want, like example, if you make it as a year, age, and the mortality class. So similarly, you can do that everything. So here already whatever the command I gave, that it is generating the code here. Okay. So here I want to say that if you want a graph, make age distribution graph. Okay. Bar chart. So it will generate that bar chart. So if you, whatever the data you have, what kind of that charts you want, you ask that, it will run that. Okay. So that is okay. So that is that. Any doubt? Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, okay. Suddenly the computer, the electricity went off. Okay. So any doubts? Any clarifications? Okay. So, Dhiren, can you open that logistic regression, or else whatever the models, I am not able to access the desktop.
Yes, sir.
So if you have any clarifications, anything, please let me know. That only the overall concept of these 2 hours is that you have your patient's data, that is Excel data, that earlier the Dhiren also clearly explained that that need to be cleaned that is easy, that is a most important part, is the clean data. So then you feed data into the to Google Colab. Then you need to know that what kind of statistics you want, you need to tell that what kind of statistics you want. So it will generate the code and it will give a results, even the graph, figures, and everything it will does. So similarly for AI model also. Okay.
Sir, I have to open workbook 4, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yes, so develop your first AI model. So here we'll be trying to develop the simplest model that exists, logistic regression. So it is so for it I'll just load the data first.
So you should know that exactly that what are the different steps of AI model. Earlier that
Vardhana explained about various steps of developing that AI model. If you know that steps, automatically step by step you can go and you can develop. Okay. So here is a one we are demonstrating that simple logistic regression algorithm. So there is various algorithm like this. Okay, if you don't know that what algorithm you need to choose, you ask the ChatGPT what are the different algorithm, or else take one algorithm, run this. So that will give. So you see the results, accuracy of that one results. If it is not working, if you're not happy with accuracy, 80%, 70%, I try another algorithms. So whichever the algorithm give a good results, you take that algorithm. Okay, that after training. Okay, yeah, proceed. Sorry.
So this is the right file, STEMI AI workshop
Yeah,
data.
yeah. So what is a PCI feature is that, so whether the percutaneous coronary intervention is done or not. So that is the last feature. Okay. So patient has undergone PCI, percutaneous coronary intervention or not.
Right. So now that we've loaded the data the same way as sir as taught us, now we'll just start with the data inspection. Yeah. So this is usually the first step of creating an AI model. When you look at the data and just go through it, go through all the columns. So uh, you can just ask sir, should I demonstrate it by generating it from the AI?
Yeah, first you show that that code, whatever that already just run that, what kind of data it will give, what kind of results it will give. So next file may just we will give a common command that develop this AI model. So automatically every column it will, okay, it will does. How it will does, not going to single Python line, how it develop that model, then we will teach in the next after 15 minutes. Okay. Just you
Sure.
tell me that whatever the each code what it does, that's it. And it
Yeah.
gives.
So here we just looking for the column names, how many column are there, and so this is what we get after running our code block. So 30. So we are looking for missing values if there are any missing values in any column, because that will ruin our data and our model won't run. It will show up an error. So here, as we can see, there is no missing value in any column. And this is the head of the data frame. Head is basically the top 5 rows of the data frame. So an Excel an Excel file, a CSV file, call it a data frame here in the library we are using here in Python. Uh, so this is what we have. Sir had already explained all the data we had in that file. So like this is what we have. So basically when you're viewing the data, so as you can see, we can't see all the columns. There are some columns that have been in this dot dot dot. So you can, if you want to view more, you can just go to these viewing options, and here you will be able to view the uh, more of the file. Is yeah, so like this. Now you can view the whole table by clicking on that button which was there. So now we'll start with the pre-processing. So we'll just we'll have to anonymize the data, for which we are going to delete the patient UID column. So as you can see, after running this line, the patient UID column is lost. So we can also uh, just so one more approach that can be used here is that you can just create a separate dictionary where you map UID to some random number, each UID to some random number. So and you can just store that dictionary elsewhere, and you can keep that unique ID. You can create that new unique ID, that random number, and you can base that as your unique ID. So here, the row number serves as the unique identity. As you can see, 012, and the patient UID is out of the picture now. So logistic regression involves using categorical things that are not numerical. So usually we do linear regression, which is for numbers, correlating numbers, like I'm correlating age with BP. Then both of these things are numerical. In this situation, we use linear regression if we are using categorical things like whether the person smoked or not, or like it's a yes or no question. So these things are called categorical questions, and in this situation logistic regression is used. So this is what we have after running this code. So basically, as the computer doesn't understand smoking yes or no, or whether the patient has ever had syncope yes or no, the computer doesn't understand that. So we usually code it into a 0 or 1. So, just the simplest example is 0 for male and 1 for female. So this thing is called one hot encoding. So here we have just done we are checking the data types of each column. So most of these are integers now. So the one hot encoding has been successful. None of these columns has any strings. So now let's prepare the features and the target.
If you have any doubts, you can ask now only. Okay, we will ready to answer that. What if the question has a four options? How zero and one? Yeah, so many risk courses ranging from 0 to 4. So during that time, we told, okay, that will take. Oh, yeah, Dhiren, you were not encoding. You told, right? You can explain that. So that participants are asking that if it is a like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 different categories are there.
Yeah, so we have multi-categorical coding also available. There are various forms of coding. There are functions that can do alphabetical coding too, and that can do
Yeah.
multi-categorical coding. Like if you have multiple classes, like let's say the type of diet, mixed diet, vegetarian diet, and non-vegetarian diet. Now these are three numbers. So the function creates a kind of a dictionary and list where it like so that dictionary contains the key, like it turned vegetarian into 1, non-vegetarian into 2, and mixed into 0. So it will store this thing as a key, that function, and it will replace vegetarian with so like whatever the key says. And
Yeah. So if
our
it is a
original
grading
data will
data,
be stored.
yeah, just one second. Okay, yeah, you can continue. Okay, just one thing is that like if it is a grading data, like percentage of blockage. So if it is a 10, 20, 30, 40%, then you can take it as it is. If it is a whatever therein I gave an example of vegetarian to totally different, then it will take a different way of what he explained. Okay, you need not to know everything. That automatically that AI is so good, the ChatGPT Gemini is so good that it will take care of that coding language. Just you need to tell that what you want. That's it. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So here the one hot encoding has been successful. So we'll just prepare the features and the targets. So uh, here we have defined two variables. X is the features column, so which is everything but the target. So X is the complete data frame, except the target column, which was the 30-day mortality column, which was the output which we want to get. So why we are setting it as the target which we want from the AI model. So we are just looking at it. So yes, the both X and Y have been loaded nicely. So the X contains 20 features, and Y is only Y is only one thing, that is one column only. So
Yeah,
and it
that is the
has
most
241
important. That
entries
is,
each.
yeah, that is your research question determines that what you want exactly predict. That is a why. So here we are predicting that 30 days mortality. That's why that Y. Okay, that you need to decide that. And based on what features you are predicting, that is X. X has multiple features based on age and everything that we are predicting whether the patient survive or not. That is Y. So your research questions, your data, you need to tell what exactly. That is a critical step in this. Yeah.
Yeah, so whenever you see things in Python, whenever you try to look at the shape of something, so shape means how many rows and columns are there in a variable. So basically, this denotes the first number in the shape denotes the number of rows, and the second denotes the number of columns. So this is just so that you proofread everything, like everything is going fine. You just need to check the shape. Yeah, it's fine. There are 241 rows and one column in Y, and 20 columns and 241 rows in X, which matches with our initial um, which matches with the initial spreadsheet which we input in this. So yeah, now we have to split the data. So uh, we are just going to use a simple function train test split for this. And
So
so
why we are splitting here means, yeah.
so basically, like let's say I have like we have 240 columns here. So I can't. Basically, I the model which I train, I need to know whether it works or not after I have trained it. But if I use all my data to train it, then I don't know whether it has done the rote learning of data, or whether it has actually gotten the logic of the logic behind the relation between the input and the output. So I really need my model to know the logic behind the input and the output. So during training, I train my model and let it figure out. I check how it is performing on the training data. So let's say it is 100, it is now getting 100% accuracy on the training data alone. So now when I check it on some real world data, like when if use it in the real world now, sometimes I'll find that the model is working fine, but sometimes I'll find that the model is not working at all. It is performing very poorly. So why is that? Because sometimes what the model does is it does a rote learning of data, and that is how it gives very high accuracy on the training data. वो रट लेता है basically कि ये होगा तो ये output है. If this is the input, then that's the output. So to avoid that, we usually try to split our initial data into two sets. So in the first set, check we just
Yeah.
do we just
So
train our
using
model.
that. Hmm.
We test
So like
that.
if it is a 100% data, yeah, exactly. Correct. So 80% of data used to teach that model. Another remaining 20% you keep as it is. Then you test, see whether it is performing or not. Yeah.
So like if you have slightly more data available, then it is always advisable to use rather than two sets for additional layer of protection against this rote learning. You should use validation data as well. So that middle set of data is called validation data. So usually we do is 60-20-20 split. Uh, so logistic regression model. So we'll just start with a model. Uh, so we'll just run this for now, and the model has been trained. We don't need to see any details. Mm. So like this is what we have as results. So basically, precision is specificity. In statistics, we call specificity. So in machine learning, we call it as precision. Recall is sensitivity. F1 score is the net accuracy, is the total accuracy. Like if there were 100 data points, then in how many times was the output predicted by the machine accurate?
So yeah,
Mm.
there is a one question is that why is everyone? So this is a very sample data set, and also we didn't keep that this one. It is giving a full 100% accuracy, full 100% everything. So just is it is a demonstration Okay, so real data, if you take around 3,000 patients data, then you clean, then okay, if you there is a then you will get around 70. That it is giving 100% accuracy. Okay, this is not the this is a simple to demonstrate that. So once you parameter everything is done, so that will vary.
Right.
Yeah, it is
So
overfitting. Dr. Avnish is telling that it is overfitting. So that will those who have a knowledge about AI. So this is a term called overfitting. Okay, those who don't know anything, okay, just forget about that overfitting. Just focus on this one. If you keep on developing the AI model, then you will get to know that what is overfitting, over underfitting. So that everything. Okay.
right, sir. So I'll move ahead. And so so now this is what we have on the training set. So now we go ahead with the test set. The train model, we see how it performs in the test set. So on the test set too, it's performing very good. So this means like our model is maybe either working very excellently, or yes, it has somehow
Over.
gotten the grasp of our data.
Yeah. So if you test that, if it is overfitting or a, so if you take outside patient's data, it will not perform at all. Okay. So other hospital data, if you take, it is out, it will not work. Okay. So in the theory in the workshop, we explained about what everything in with the details, but we have not much time to explain that full theory parts of that AI. So that's why we'll skip everything most important, that is hyperparameter tuning, overfitting, so everything in detail. Okay, so you can ask that ChatGPT and everything to know that details.
Yeah, sure. So I'll move ahead with the analyzing the coefficients of our features. So basically, this was a linear regression. So as you are all you must be familiar that linear regression has a slope. So this coefficient is basically the slope, that beta part of each variable. Like how is the how is the slope of PCI in relation to our target. So this is individual slopes of all.
Yeah, that is
So
important. If there is an outcome comes, we need to rank the features. Which feature is responsible for more mortality. So that is in that next slide also, next models we can see that there is, everybody says that AI model is a black box. It will not say why it took the decision, but actually there is a sharp and lime models are there. It will say that why it is explained that it is a mortality is 90%. It will say that if it is a person is a female sex, that's why it is that. LAD is 100%, that's why I'm telling that. That is a feature. So feature ranking it will give, and also it is a coefficient, but it will give that feature ranking also, and based on what feature it is saying that the patient will die, it will give. That is explainable AI. So we will not explain that one. So if you want, if you ask that make it as a sharp in generative AI, make it as a sharp algorithm or else explainable AI, in this it will run and it will give a results also.
right. So I'll just like to mention one more thing. So analyzing this strongly negative coefficient would mean that it had a protective effect on the mortality. So basically, doing PCI meant lower mortality, and doing presenting with heart failure status meant high mortality, and initial creatinine value was also correlated with very high mortality, as it is positive correlated. Uh,
Yeah, those this is a normal step for the AI development. Okay, so uh, so there is a whatever that model is there. Yeah. So okay, there. So even that power didn't come here. Okay, I'm not access to the desktop.
okay, sir. I'll,
Yeah. So here, like okay. So developing AI model. Okay, in collaboration. Okay, that is a if you want to develop the random forest from the scratch, you don't know anything. Just here, whatever Dhiren is telling, okay, import the, you develop the model only. Okay, just directly Dhiren give that command that Excel is there in my desktop, so that I want to develop the random forest classification. So if you give that, automatically each and every cell, it will fill the code and it will give the output. So just what are the steps? It will import that Excel sheet from desktop. Then it will see that whether is a null values or not there. Then you need to tell that 30 days mortality. You need to, your responsibilities. What is your research question is based on that Excel sheet from that. You only try in your desktop, in your laptop. So give that English में command दे दो. So just I have an Excel sheet. So in that I want to predict 30 days mortality with this. Okay, use that random forest. That is one algorithm. So use a random forest classification. So if you give this, automatically it will import, then it will see the data, then it will divide that features and plus 30 days mortality separate x and y, then it will divide it into train and test, then it will train the random forest and it will give you results also. Everything it does, okay, at one step. And also in the everywhere you can see that in your screen there is a logo of Gemini. So if you click on that, if you give that, it automatically it will does most of the every steps of that AI model development.
Sir, it is taking a lot of time, so I'll
Yeah.
just import it first. Oh, it worked.
Okay. Yeah, it is
All right.
done that.
It happened. Yeah.
Okay, it generated the full code. Okay, for that AI model. So you need not to know about that programming language. Just you need to see that, okay, accuracy. Okay, to validate that your model is good or not, you need to keep some amount of data outside. Okay, then you need to test on this data. So if it is valid, then your model is valid. So here we don't have that kept the some amount of data outside. Okay, so you need to test that. So then it will give that automatically here model is developed, random model is developed. Here also results is giving 100% accuracy. When you take that new data, then it will try, if you test on this model, then it will give 50-60%. Then either maybe small 200 sample is very small, either you need to change the algorithm, either you need to change that features. So everything you need to change, modify the re that training model need to be done to get that accurate model.
Yeah, so like as sir said, I just asked it to create me the model, and it did. So first it loaded the data, had a look at it, and then it made sure that it removes the identifiers on its own. So we don't have to be so vigilant. And it did one hot encoding of the features, and then it split the data into training and test samples, and just trained a random forest classifiers. I mentioned the target here. I asked it to predict 30-day mortality, so it decided to um, so it rightly decided to like take that as the target. So uh, now after the training was done, it tested it on the test set, and this is what we got after having it tested on the test set. So our model is functioning very really well.
Okay, then explain that the store the model in desktop. So ये command दे दो. So it will store that model. It is model is nothing but it is a file, a formula file. So if you whatever that calculation is done, it will be stored in one file, so that you can keep that model file in your desktop. Okay, when a new patient comes, you need to give a command that my model is stored in the desktop. Name that name of that model. Using that model, that intelligence give output. So automatically it will give. So here in this 2 hours we can't explain anything, just core concept we explained it. So that using a llm, you know the concept, you should know that what you want to do, and what is that what exactly there is a llm model. So then you okay, llm model you can give the there is a question. Okay, the model was cheating with yeah, exactly. So PCI value is nothing but percutaneous coronary intervention. When there is a percutaneous coronary intervention किया तो मतलब most of the patient will survive. That's why it came as a first. It is, you need not to know. Okay, so know that whether patient will survive or not. PCI is done matlab patient will survive. So that kind of features you need to delete that from when you are developing the model. So that's why research question is very important. Selection of features is very important. Okay, so if it is confounding factors, that's why in the real model when we develop published, we didn't take the PCI into the consideration. So we know that even that any layman person say that with the PCI is there, that will give a survival. So what human intelligence can't do, okay, with the features, that features we need to take for developing AI model. If it is humans, we as a able to predict that what is the outcome, there is no need of the AI model for that. So just for your demonstration sake, we included every features. Okay. So any doubts, any clarifications? Yeah. There anything? Hello?
No, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So any doubts, any clarifications, any doubt required? Yeah, cleaning of data is the most important. So it will take, okay, for me it will take so much of time. Okay, so but Abhi at present there is so many cloud is there that will clean itself. It cleans. You need to give a command. Like example, if it is a missing value in a hemoglobin, then you need to tell that hemoglobin missing value should be replaced with a mean value or else normal value. That you need to tell. If it is a patient age is missing, you need to say that mean replace with the mean value of the age. So and also none, if you don't want that missing data, patient need to not to be included your clinic your develop AI model, delete that all the patient's data. There is a missing value there. And also if it is yes or no is there, automatically AI will take care of that. Okay, take care of convert into numbers. It is so, it becomes so easy with ChatGPT, Cloud and everything. So earlier 3 months, 4 months of work can be done within 1 hour.
Yeah, so I had a situation like where I had, so basically the approach of cleaning data is a lot depending upon how much data you have. So there was a situation I was in where I had very less data and I was desperate for data. So usually the safest thing is to deal with missing values is to delete the column. But if you have very less data, then I asked Gemini to do something, and because I was so desperate, what approach it took was it created, based on the whole file, it created a separate machine learning model just to fill in the missing values, and then based on those missing values we went ahead with that model.
Wow, nice. So and also there is so much of that augmentation of data is also is there, right? It is almost like that. One is that okay, yeah, it's nice. So there is various creative solution it will gives. Yeah, synthetic data. So if you have a small amount of data, so that there is various resample, there is various algorithm are there. It will increase the sample of data. Okay, that we can make it as a training the model also using that. Okay. So thank you anyone, everyone. So you, Yaju, okay.
रुको रुको yes sir
Yeah. Okay. So that, yeah, continue. So if you want a certificate, we have sent that one. You need to send that using that whatever the data we send. So send that. Develop that one AI model. Okay, send that number two. Okay, collab number two as well as that number five. Okay, that two files you need to send it to us. So as a result, we everyone will get a certificate. Okay, if you have any doubts, and we are happy to help. And also, if you have anything to collaborate with Medical Innovation Center MAMC, you are welcome. So our website is there, so you can approach us. So and also I send that my ID also. So thank you everyone.